Hello everyone and welcome, this is Comedy Cam. Today I'm going to be talking about, well, Transformers Animated's continuity. Over the course of the next few days and even weeks, I'm going to try my best and actually make more Transformers content in terms of like sort of topic discussion videos that I can engage with you guys with, because it's been a while since I've kind of made videos like this, and I kind of just want to kind of go on a tangent and just kind of express my thoughts, but most specifically on Transformers Animated's continuity, because that's, out of all the Transformers continuities, that's like the one I know the most of. It was like the one I was so indulged in. The lore is so rich, in my opinion. There's just so much to kind of dissect and talk about. And I just kind of hope it becomes a continuous thing. And since I did a kind of meme-like video showing how much I loved Animated's Megatron, it just kind of got me pumping with ideas to talk about. And even though I was going to actually start out with a Megatron video talking about why I liked that Animated's version so much, I decided to kind of do something that I can actually talk more about kind of on the spot, and that being Soundwave. A character in Transformers Animated that, well, I didn't like how he was interpreted, but I kind of appreciated it, for something being different. Now, when it comes to Soundwave in Transformers Animated, it's kind of a split on opinion on whether fans really like him or really don't like him. I won't say so much on his design. I think Soundwave's design in Transformers Animated is by far one of the best looking Soundwaves we've ever got. It's how he's interpreted, how he's depicted in the show. It's not what we're used to as Transformers fans. Well, at least for me at the time watching this was kind of like the first Soundwave I was introduced to. I already knew of Generation 1 Soundwave because I watched repeatedly G1 episodes as a kid, but when it came to like kind of my second incarnation of Soundwave, it was this dude, because the movies hadn't came out yet with that Soundwave concept, and the only Soundwave I believe like came out was in the Cybertron Unicron trilogy, and I never watched Cybertron enough to actually see that interpretation of Soundwave, and he's very different from G1 anyway. But this Soundwave in particular is very different because, well, he's born a Decepticon. He's kind of made from scratch on Earth, breaded from Megatron's kind of like passion of evil, just kind of formed into this little toy that Sari Sumdak's father made, given to her as a birthday present. And we see over the course of the episode that he debuts in that this machine turns into, well, the Soundwave of a Decepticon. Starts out as a Soundwave little toy, just for Sari to have fun with, and there's a little dynamic there with Bulkhead. But as Megatron, being ahead at the time, is kind of corrupting it, he kind of creates his perfect Decepticon in order to take over machines and overthrow the humans. Now this is a bit of a mixed bag for me, because I really don't like this being Soundwave's origin. Although I think it's really cool, it's kind of a good message on kind of our technology culture a little bit, how obsessive we can get, and well, it's kind of like a good Blade Runner-ish type of machines turning on each other of sorts. And obviously this is corrupted by Megatron, so the social context is not that high, but still nonetheless. With Soundwave, we've obviously known him to be a loyal Decepticon. Soundwave's loyalty would be kind of emphasized a lot more past Animated, and it become kind of a main origin staple that, yeah, he was with Megatron from the very beginning of the war. He's kind of one of the very few first Decepticons to join on Megatron's side. But there was a time in Transformers continuity where Soundwave was very different, the origin story at least. And I do appreciate the fact that they did something a little bit different, but you just look at this kind of Soundwave, and you just kind of want him to be part of a great war. You kind of want him to be part of Megatron's team from the very first episode. There's just something about it that never really sit right with me. But then when Soundwave kind of like, say, evolved at the ending of the first debut episode, when we see him transform into his final form, and we have that Decepticon logo, like, it's just absolutely epic. Like, I like the voice as well. The voice is very good. I think this is one of the best sounds of Soundwaves, to say that.
I am Soundwave. I am Decepticon. The revolution begins now.
But then he appeared, unfortunately, in only 2 episodes after that. He only got Human Error Part 1 and 2, which he had kind of more to do, and unfortunately season 4 never happened, so we would have never have seen him kind of like evolve out of that. But I just remember in the episode Human Error, when we had all the Decepticons back, even though it was a dream sequence, of all the Decepticons being a whole faction again, we got Starscream, Lugnut, Blitzwing. It was just always like where's Soundwave? Like, this Soundwave fits so well a part of the Decepticon team. It just feels like, just looking at his design, like he's already had a history, like he's already been part of the Cybertronian Wars. And this was just something that definitely threw a lot of fans off when Animated first debuted. But Animated took a lot of risks in doing a lot of different things. And I think that's one of the main reasons why it still stands out to this day. Because even though I look at this Soundwave and I don't like his origins, I still kind of like think, hey, you know what, at least this was like the only time that the Transformers history could probably do something like this. I wouldn't say get away with it per se. You know, creators are allowed to mix around and change up origins every so often, especially if it's like kind of a good story. Because even though I don't like his origins, I do actually think the episode's a really good episode. You know, Sound and Fury. It was a good debut episode. Didn't get any Laserbeak, however, because the production staff didn't actually know about that. They didn't know that his guitar turned into Laserbeak. So we probably would have gone Laserbeak if the production staff had kind of known about the toy in his debut episode. But what is it about particular characters, I think, in Transformers history? Like, we have such a kind of attachment to them, where any sort of change or mix-up from their origin story is kind of like just thrown off the deep end and just like, we don't like it. But there are some people like me who can probably like, all right, at least we did something different. But the same kind of gut feeling is like, I just kind of wish that Soundwave wasn't designed by Megatron. You know, he was just kind of like, he was just a Decepticon from the start, and he kind of become Megatron's loyal ally. Because it kind of feels weird thinking about the Great War in Transformers Animated and Soundwave wasn't there by Megatron's side. It was only kind of like, after the fact, 4 million stellar cycles later, and then, Soundwave comes into the universe. We think that Optimus and Bumblebee have been fighting side by side for millions of years, and same with like Megatron or Starscream, even though I'm quite surprised that Megatron actually managed to last with Starscream as long as he did before eventually killing him in present time in Transformers Animated's show. But I do like we got different kinds of variants of Soundwave throughout the Human Era episode. We got a black version, we got a white version, obviously the black version resembling the, Sound Blaster, and he came with actually Ratbat himself. But I wish, obviously, with Season 4 of Transformers Animated not happening, I would have loved to have seen kind of that evolution of Soundwave becoming part of the original lineup, being part of Megatron's team, because like he is designed to be a loyal Decepticon. And some people may really like that, the fact that Soundwave's a loyal Decepticon design-wise, instead of actually organically becoming loyal. I prefer the organic aspect of being a loyal Decepticon, because I feel like it has more meaning instead of being just programmed. But then again, the program version, I suppose, writing-wise, you could have a little bit of mix of him coming to realize he doesn't need to, but I don't see Soundwave ever going down that road. But this was like one of the first times that Soundwave really was a different character from how he's usually interpreted. I think when it comes to like high profile characters within the Transformers lore, there's definitely a lot more risk when you change up little aspects about him, because Soundwave is actually one of the most popular Transformers characters out there, especially toy wise. Like, people might not necessarily know who Megatron is, but they'll know who Soundwave is by just the phrase of saying, oh, you mean the micro cassette recorder. So I do give props to Transformers Animated writers for doing something very different. At the end of the day, he got a yellow visor and a red visor, so it's kind of like, yeah, at least he got that. At least he got a good mix. He's had both of them. Anyway, guys, that's going to kind of round off on my general thoughts and feelings towards Soundwave and Transformers Animated. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Soundwave? What was it like for the first time? Especially for older fans, I'm more curious, because I feel like older fans would definitely be a lot more pickier than younger fans, because they didn't really know Generation 1 Soundwave at all. This was kind of one of the first Soundwaves that most fans during that period were introduced to. So I'll be very curious to what everyone else has got to kind of say about this, because I know this Soundwave is very split, but with kind of Transformers Animated being so many years old now, I just kind of want to know how people look back on this. How do they feel about this Soundwave now? Anyway, guys, like I said at the beginning of this video, I really want to start doing more videos again, talking about topics and discussions within Transformers. I really want to focus on Transformers Animated at the minute. I've got a lot of ideas I generated of what I could talk about, so if you're interested, stay tuned for that. So for all updates on those videos, be sure to subscribe and click on that notification bell to get all updates instantly. Until the next video, goodbye.